Well, Lisa, Dark Shadows is Tim Burton's very Burtonized update of the gothic oddball vampire soap opera. You know, when I go into a new Tim Burton movie, I always wonder, is it going to be a real Tim Burton movie, or is it going to be a piece of product masquerading as a Tim Burton movie? We've seen some of those, like Sleepy Hollow or Planet of the Apes.
All right.
And watching Dark Shadows, it's a kind of wallow in 1970s kitsch that in some ways is a little too knowing and processed about being a piece of kitsch. But I think there's one thing at the center of the movie that is very pure Tim Burton. And that is the character of Barnabas Collins, this old world vampire who shows up in the very new world of 1972.
Well, certainly Johnny Depp and Tim Burton working together are a beautiful team at this point. However, you said 70s kitsch. Here what bothers me is that so much lavish energy has been put into kitsch, that there is nothing of any substance to this. It looks beautiful. We have Michelle Pfeiffer back. We have, of course, Helena Bonham Carter in here. We have all of these people acting up a storm in a story that it had a following back then. It's kind of funny and retro now.
Well,
but why this much energy and effort into a story that really, really does not matter?
Well, let's be clear about this. I don't think that 1% of the audience for this movie will probably have seen the old soap opera of Dark Shadows. That really doesn't matter. And what Burton has done with it is totally different. In some ways, I think this is a movie about what vampire culture is today. See, vampires today have become...
tell me about vampires today.
Well, they've become, in a way, very cool, like on True Blood.
Right.
They are now like
and they're
rock
sexy and they have abs.
And this is the uncool vampire,
That's
Barnabas
true.
Collins. And yet, the way that Burton and Depp work, and this is, I think, the whole thing that Burton's about, he wants to take this very uncool character, this old world guy who walks very stiffly and uses the hand gestures to hypnotize people.
Of an 18th century fellow.
And who's basically this very polite 18th century gentleman. And to make him so uncool that he actually is cool.
Well,
and that's what Johnny Depp does. There is something very endearing about him. He's right in line with Depp Burton characters like Ed Wood, Edward Scissorhands. And to me, having that kind of character that you're drawn to in this fascinating way, and you really like him, and he's cool, but he's uncool, that's enough substance from a movie.
I don't think that is enough substance from a movie. Maybe this is where we have a kind of disagreement, but I think just to watch a character sketch, why don't they go off and do that on their own?
Well, it's not a sketch.
It is. I mean, you're saying it's all about this character. The story doesn't matter. Nothing really matters in all of this.
And I have to ask you, since you went on this way kind of about the Avengers last week, you're making this case, I feel like this should be part of a series of Lisa turns thumbs down on the superficiality of pop culture. But I have to ask you, how do you square these feelings about these movies with your endorsements of films like 21 Jump Street and every film in the Harry Potter series?
I think it is on a case-by-case basis. It's as simple as that. And these two, I feel, are elaborately produced, beautifully produced, amounting to nothing. And maybe it's also accretion. You know, the accretion of all of this and all of this coming out in the summer, where I feel hungry for something else.
Right. Well, look, I share some of that feeling. I want movies to be rich and deep as well. This movie is a piece of kitsch, but what I think Johnny Depp and Burton find in the character of Barnabas Collins is this wonderful, kind of ironic sincerity.
Ironic, that's the word.
This wonderful, ironic sincerity, and that's what makes the movie work.